Namaste, Jai Bharat. The world has full of contradictions and something very funny. There are many such instances. When I said full of, it just said rhetoric. But there are many such things in the world which are indeed funny and at times contradictory, even self-contradictory. Take, for instance, the concept of civilized societies or civilisations. There are some group, some societies who think themselves as civilized, if not very civilized, but you closely watch them through the histories, you will see that they have been great destroyers of civilizations other than their own, including their own, of course. Great destroyers of civilization. They claim to be custodians of civilizations. And what is civilization to them is a second question. We may go to it if thought permits or time permits. Another, it's something like, you see, there are many humanists, human rights thinkers, humanitarian kind of things. And again, if you closely look, you will find that these champions, custodians, or even autochthones of these human rights are at times the greatest violators of human rights. They project themselves as custodians of human rights, but they themselves are seen violating human rights in a very gross manner. Gross violators of human rights. If you closely watch, you find they are doing it. Pick, for instance, any such custodians, so-called, of human rights. You find them as the greatest violation of human rights they are doing. They put bombs, destroy many innocents, and I need not to go into details. You are supposed to understand. I expect you to understand if you're honest to yourselves and make some introspections before making statements. If you do that, that's fine. Don't have to accept anything. Don't have to commit anything. But at least know the station, know thyself. This I borrowed from Socrates. Know the station, know thyself. Greatest violators of human rights. Similarly, civilization. In many cases, in today's world, those who pose to be civilized people are found destroyers of civilization at many places. I am not trying to speak of Bharatiya civilization, which I need not to say. If you have eyes and ears, you will know which is the greatest civilization in the whole world. Why should I say? It will be that I am speaking about myself. It will be that I am speaking of my civilization. I don't have to speak. If you are honest to yourself, you will know which is the greatest civilization, the greatest knowledge tradition of the man's history. So, those who claim to be civilized are seen destroying civilizations. Look at the Indians in America, not people like us Indians, but the American Indians. What the whites have done to them. You have protected them, you helped them in that time. Like the Swamish tribe chief self, he has written a letter to, I think, who was that time, the US president? Franklin, I forgot the name, I forgot who was that. That letter I read long back, sometimes in 80s, this letter was circulating in our circle, friend circle. He says, the context is that they wrote that you sell your land to us. Who? The US administration then. And then this Chief Silt, his name is Chief Silt, I still remember. He says, we don't understand the idea of buying and selling land. How can you buy or sell air, water, land? And that goes beyond his understanding, because he doesn't sell or buy. It's a common law. They belong to nature. They belong to nature. And who destroyed their civilizations? Look at the Aborigines of Australia. Actually, the Aborigines of Australia, in all likelihood, are ethnically related to us, Bharat, through the notion of Kumarikandam, that area, etc. That's a different area to speak about. We have no time to go into that. What happened to the Aborigines of Australia, by and large? And what happened to the Hamitics? The Hamitics of Africa? Who went about civilizing the Africans just because they're black? Just because they are black? If white is civilization, remains so concluded in an exclusive zone for the whites. Civilization should have a meaning. As we commonly understand, what is it to be civilized? What is it to be civilized? And those who claim to be civilized, please look within oneself through an exercise of introspection to find to what extent one is civilized. First, try to find out what is it to be civilized, and then try to do an introspection and find out to what extent you are civilized, or why anyone is civilized. This is for everyone. This is for everyone who is listening. But those custodians ended up destroying civilizations. Destroyed the civilizations. Who destroyed the temples of Bharat? The Europeans would say, we haven't done anything, would say. But they had been instrumental to it at many places, implicitly or explicitly. Who destroyed many places where people lived with their own culture, knowledge, tradition, and they existed. And since you don't understand that, they don't understand their inner kind of relationship and their own inner logic, you don't understand it, so you say it as waste, useless, nothing, and go about destroying it. Yes, gunpowder and fire. Gunpowder and fire. Pablo Neruda wrote a poetry speaking about gunpowder. Is there were only gunpowder and fire? In another part, it's there in one of his poetries. There were only gunpowder and fire. Then he concludes, you come and look at the blood in the street, children's blood flowing in children's. That's very emotionally put by Neruda. But I'm talking about civilization. The civilized people destroying civilization still claim to be civilized. Many of them go about speaking about blue blood and kind of things. What utter foolishness. If you understand civilization through concepts of attributes and qualities, then you may make sense. Otherwise you are not. So these are very ironical in the world, very funny in the world. People who claim to be civilized are destroyers of civilization maximum by and large, greatest destroyers of civilization. Those who claim to be custodians of human rights are the greatest violators of human rights, and don't they realize that? They do realize it, at times at least. There are people who have conscience among them. There are people who are conscientious. At least they will have some flash of thought that they are not what they project themselves to be. Introspection is necessary. Let's introspect at each step. Let's introspect who is what. We may meet again. Till then, Namaste, Jai Bharat, Jai Shri Ram.